Holy proverbial cow, is this next channel a great one?
Hi, I'm Red.
And I'm... Wait, did we ever give me a name? Were we going with colors, or...?
Overly Sarcastic Productions is the sardonically educational program that, well, the channel's own description says it all. Sarcastic yet informative, summaries of classical and not-so-classical literature and mythology, as well as historical events. The show is hosted by Red and Blue, two stylized chibi avatars of their 3D human counterparts, Red and Blue.
I'm sorry for not being overly sarcastic. At best, I've only been moderately sarcastic, and at worst, I've been downright sincere. And I'm sorry.
I'm sorry that I invented a time machine, went back to steal the Library of Alexandria, shrink it down Brainiac style and put it in a bottle, and then burn the foundations to cover my tracks.
I'm sorry, wait, what did you do?
Oh, well, you see...
You what?
Well, actually...
Monster, you wait till I get over there!
Blue presents the historical half of the channel.
Over here on my half of the channel, we do a lot of history, which, broadly speaking, means that I talk about a bunch of stuff that happened in the past. Now, let's be honest, it's mostly Greece and Rome because I'm a classicist hack, but in any case, I deal with old stuff, okay? But how we deal with that old stuff can have a massive impact on what we learn and what ideas we take away from it.
Facts about prominent figures, such as Julius Caesar and Niccolo Machiavelli.
Through history, abstract political theory becomes much more concrete. For instance, he repeatedly praises the Roman army's effectiveness in conquering the Italian peninsula because it was staffed with citizens who actually cared whether they won or lost. And he compares this at length to the modern Italian problem of relying on mercenaries who are loyal to nothing but gold. In another passage, he goes off about how stupid conspiracies are, discussing everything from the thwarted Pazzi conspiracy to assassinate Lorenzo de' Medici to this one Roman senator who failed to kill Emperor Commodus because he insisted on shouting, "The Senate sends its regards," before knifing him. But while he was up there being a diva and not stabbing the emperor, his guards just tackled the idiot to the ground. Compare this to the assassins who killed Caesar. Stab first, chant slogans later. Even still, it didn't really work out so great for them, and I'm getting off topic here.
Great battles and just how they were won.
One distinct feature of Genghis Khan's armies is that, given they were almost entirely composed of cavalry, they could travel across territory much faster than any marching infantry could. Mongol horses were also much smaller than European horses, so the logistics of providing for a cavalry army were much less nightmarish than they easily could have been. The Cavalry Advantage partially explains how the Mongols would go on to conquer so much so fast.
Blue even has its own playlist dedicated to entire eras of history, from many diverse cultures and religions.
While civilization along this stretch of lands dates back thousands of years to players like the Olmecs, the Zapotecs, and the Maya, our story begins in the power vacuum left by the collapse of the Toltec Empire in 1122 AD. In the absence of any one dominant power, a series of small city-states carved out their own little corners of influence. 200 years later, the Mexica tribe settled right in the middle of Lake Texcoco to fulfill a prophecy. They were told that the apparition of an eagle perched atop a cactus and eating a snake would mark their new home. So upon seeing it, rather than look a gift eagle in the beak, they camped out right in the lake and began building the city of Tenochtitlan. The Mexica then allied with two of their neighbors to form the Aztec Empire. Through a combination of military skills, some fetching outfits, and a trusty obsidian macahuitl, the Aztec Empire grew to dominate the land from coast to coast. Meanwhile, the capital of Tenochtitlan became a fabulously huge and beautiful city of canals, palaces, markets, aqueducts, and more.
¿Dónde está El Dorado?
And then the conquistadors showed up. Some 30 years after Columbus accidentally wandered into the Caribbean, Spain was in full-on empire mode.
Red tackles the literature, folklore, and mythology half of the channel, as well as the series Trope Talks, which discusses common tropes used in storytelling by humans throughout the course of history.
This guy is the hero. The main character, the central focus, the axis around which the narrative spins. They might not like to admit it, but to a certain extent, the entire story they live in is about them. And that guy next to them is the Lancer, the hero's closest narrative foil. Best friend, second in command, right-hand lieutenant, rival, trusted confidant, occasional nemesis, sometimes all at once. Unsurprisingly, they can be a bit of a mess. But this mess is worth analyzing because Lancers frequently end up being some of the most interesting and fun characters in a story.
Most videos close out with Red performing her rendition of a song that correlates to the overall moral or theme of the topic being discussed. Coming at the end of the videos, songs that Red chooses drive the emotional content home with a punch.
So I've talked about a lot of Greek myths on this channel, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Aphrodite kind of shows up in a lot of them. It's actually a little weird if you think about it. Gotta say, I do think it's really interesting that even though Aphrodite had her Ishtar-based war connections pretty aggressively stripped away when she arrived in Greece, she still ended up kind of gaining them back through Rome, and also made her debut in the first place by being directly responsible for the biggest war in Greek mytho-history. I guess you can take the war out of the goddess, but you can't take the goddess out of the war. Jolene, 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 I'm begging of you, please don't take my man.
My favorite saga from OSP is the Journey to the West series. Narrated by Red, she opens up each new chapter to the tale with a parody from the drama action cartoon series Dragon Ball Z.
Last time on Journey to the West, the virtuous monk Tripitaka found himself added to the menu of an evil cave demon, whose powerful wind laid even the mighty Sun Wukong low. With the help of the Bodhisattva Ling Chi, Sun Wukong and Tripitaka's new disciple Pigsy found a way to defeat the cave demon and save their master, only to encounter a new threat in the form of a cunning and powerful river spirit that barred their way. Unable to fight him underwater, Sun Wukong again had to rely on the skills of Pigsy to lure the demon out, but when even that failed, he called upon the merciful Kuan Yin to intercede on their behalf. The river spirit turned into an unlikely ally when it was revealed that Kuan Yin had previously enlisted him as Tripitaka's third disciple. Now with all our allies assembled, we are finally ready to embark on the Journey to the West.
Fun fact, the character of Goku was inspired by and modeled after the mischievous monkey king of Chinese folklore, Sun Wukong.
Sun Wukong's most famous mark on the modern world is probably Dragon Ball's Son Goku, a character specifically designed to emulate the abilities, appearance, and overall impulsive goofiness of the original Monkey King.
So thanks a lot, OSP. I can never look at one of my favorite childhood cartoons the same ever again. If you spend a lot of your free time watching videos, put this channel on your watch list. Overly Sarcastic Productions is one of the most creative YouTube channels out there today. If you get the chance, go ahead and check them out. You will not regret it.
So the moral of this complex, century-spanning story is, if Arthur, Guinevere, and Lancelot had all just been honest about their feelings and entered into a mutually supportive romantic relationship, we could have called it a polyamory. Thank you and good night.